Hey, if you're from Australia, Canada, UK or the US and you're dealing with the worst housing crisis in modern history and you want to do something about it, you need to watch this video. If you've been following my journey as a risk and strategy professional working on Australia's housing crisis, you probably noticed a shift in me. Early on, I had hope and naive positivity. I believed that if I rang the bell, mapped the solution, offered to do the work, someone in the government would act. They didn't. You were right, I was wrong. In my defense, I've led crisis response before, and there was a lot of similarities. In 2021, I helped industry navigate the urea crisis. It was high stakes, there was hoarding, there was huge increases in prices and costs, but it wasn't anywhere near as emotional. Just logistics, business to business. Get it done or trucks are going to stop working. This crisis is different. It gets darker the more you look into it. It's families, mental health, domestic violence, generational despair from X to Z, young workers, vulnerable people, retirees, and even my own colleagues. And the inaction from government after sending them all a full crisis management plan that I read 400 documents to develop, worked with multiple focus groups, frustrating moments. Just before the election, I sent Max Chandler and several influencers an email of what was going to happen with this problem, and it's all unfolding exactly as I said it would, which is kind of scary given what's at stake. Peak housing bodies like the Community Housing Industry Association called for 4 times the funding for the HAF, Housing Australia Future Fund. Ignored. Check it out. Priority 1. Increasing the scope and ambition of the Housing Australia Future Fund by expanding the size of its capital investment from 10 billion to 40 billion. 4 times. Yep. Okay. So, Max asked for what they ignored, and then he lost his seat because he took too long negotiating for what industry knew we needed. So, what now? We need to be real about the situation. The problem is getting worse and can only get worse. Government won't act to the scale required. Developers won't build homes they can't profit from. And renters who should be climbing into ownership are being bled dry by rent inflation. It's a system jammed at its worst point. Maximum pressure, a catch-22 engineered by decades of short-sighted policy. But here's the thing. PwC identified housing affordability as an emerging risk. The directors of the group I work for also agree that housing affordability and financial stress is becoming a commercial risk. It's if one of our welders is driving an Uber at night just to afford to rent near his workplace, that's not sustainable and that's not safe. If our customer service team can't focus due to financial stress, we all wear that cost. So I'm not begging the government for permission to act on this problem. I am acting on this problem. Over the past few months, I've quietly built a national network of modular builders. I'm offering my expertise to them and the opportunity to work on Australia's biggest problem together. Supply chains, operations, risk, strategy. I will do whatever it takes to help cut costs and optimize processes and create value. Modular builders can build about 4 times faster than traditional developers, and I'm not doing this for profit. I'm doing it for impact, which means we will have a deflationary force in the housing market by 2026 in Australia. We're not waiting for the government to read my emails anymore. We can just show them. Earlier this year, I spoke to Tim Richter from the Canadian Alliance to End Homelessness. They introduced me to the idea of a project bond in their 10-point plan for housing security. Here's how it works. Let's say we pool a fund. I find land, say in Maitland or Raymond Terrace, New South Wales. We build a house with our future modular partner in the area, Parkwood Modular. Conrad from Punters Politics buys it. With government assistance, you can use the schemes for just 2 to 5% above cost, but aiming for 15% below market rate. And then all of that money goes back into the fund and we do it again. Next, maybe it's a working single mum in Moreton Bay or an essential worker in Victoria or Perth or Adelaide, just an everyday renter who would be paying less for an affordable mortgage than they are in rent. And we do this over and over using supply chain and process optimization to save marginal costs and sell at marginal profits. And thus, we will have a self-sustaining impact engine growing 2 to 5% per cycle, reinvesting in affordability and impact, not for greed. And it doesn't stop, it doesn't lose until we cannot sell a brand new house 15% below market rate. When do you guys see that happening? This isn't quite charity. It's not a handout. We're bringing back a fair go. I'm calling it the AHI, or AHI, which stands for Affordable Housing Action Initiative, a fund, a model, a standard setting machine. My reputation is on the line here. personally and professionally, and that matters to me more than money, because what is money if not the ability to make a difference? Just numbers on a screen, getting eaten by the growing cost of living, getting siphoned off to billionaires? Or could you take a small part of it and use it as a tool, use it as a weapon to fix this broken system? Do you believe that we can do better together? This model can be replicated anywhere in the world. And if 100,000 of us or 1 million of us back this idea, we'd become a serious force. We'd push for affordable land, hold government and developers to account by leading by example, and show what high-impact housing delivery actually looks like. A national, lean developer, marginal profits, funded by the people, for the people. And to help kick this off, one of my earliest allies in this fight, Conrad from Punters Politics, is willing to be a part of the New South Wales pilot program with Parkwood Modular. I've been clarifying budget and liaising between them both today. What this means, we build the fund, we find land within 45 minutes of where Conrad is currently renting, put a modular home on it. We offer it to Conrad at 2 to 5% above cost. He buys it, supported by the government, first home buyer schemes, fund, whatever. It settles, the fund is topped up, plus 2 to 5%, and you can pull out, or we can use the funds to do it again and again and again, all over the country, until we have fixed this problem ourselves. After about 14 rounds, you've put 14 renting people or families into an affordable home. You've put 14 rentals back on the market. You've sold 14 homes well below market rate, because that is the mission of the fund. And cherry on top, 14 times is about how many it would take to turn $1,000 into $2,000 at 5% compound interest. So I have no problem using my own money to back this. I've de-risked all of it. Modular builders, supply chains optimized, logistics partners, we can do cross promotions with everyone in the supply chain, meaning we have direct influence on cost, inputs, and strategy. Fun fact, corporate and industry have a lot of goodwill towards me for the work that I've done in my career. Maybe just enough goodwill and resources to pilot this on my own with my network. But on the other side, Conrad's got trust and goodwill from the people. Ironically, largely because he called out a lot of those same industries who quite like me. So us working together, it's like industry and society teaming up. Ethics and compassion plus professional strategy and risk mitigation. I generally think it's going to be awesome for society, and there hasn't been much of that lately. Anyway, I made a GoFundMe to give us the platform to pool our funds and kick this off. Check out the link in the comments. You were right, no one is coming to save us, but trust me, I think we're going to do an impressive job saving ourselves. Canada, US, UK, this is one thing Australia is going to do about their housing crisis and growing wealth inequality problem. It's going to change lives. You can do it too. Hit me up if you want any advice or help setting this up. This could be the seed idea of an ethical and compassionate revolution that I think a lot of people in society have been waiting for. I can't wait to do this. So much thought and work has gone into it, it's not funny. This will definitely be one of the most challenging problems I've worked on. It almost had me.